The following program is closed captioned for the thinking impaired.
By tomorrow, I will rule the world!
You think he's gone? He's not gone. That's the whole point. He's never gone.
Is this some radical new therapy?
You see?
Well, I must have not been paying attention when you were just talking to me. Do you think that you could repeat the question? And I listen more.
Do we do Bapa Buzz? It always
Yes.
seems right.
I like to do it.
It always seems right with the new studio that we start off with Bapa Buzz.
Yeah, bring that good vibe.
It's going to be hard to do it without Chrissy. I'm going to miss Chrissy, but
Well, I'm sorry to
can
disappoint
we
you.
do? I'm not that typical woman. See how she is? See how she is? Unbelievable. Kelly and Debo are crying on their Facebook page. How does a FOIA request get sent into the city of Lawrence at 4 p.m. and it's on social media on Tom Duggan's page at 5? It's abuse of power. It's abuse of power. Call the U.S. Attorney's Office. Get the cops.
This time we got him.
This time we really got him. Every day it's, this time, get your popcorn ready. This time we really got him. We have 3 witnesses that saw him rip the tag off his mattress when he was in 8th grade.
Oh boy.
He cheated on a test in 3rd grade. This time we've really got him.
I wish people would see me. I'm actually dancing.
You are actually dancing. It's kind of cute. I can say that, right?
Yes, that's fine.
All right.
It's with me. You can say whatever you want.
All right, okay.
We ready?
Everybody.
Ba, 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 ba.
All right, see, I had no papas in me. I lost my voice because I was sick 3 days. All right, let's get rid of this. Let's just get rid of it. They're such a distraction. Abuse of power. You know, I could do a whole show just on those two.
Oh God, not today.
The level of stupidity is just amazing.
We have priorities.
I know. We've got important things to do. But it is amusing. Like, I'm probably the only one who feels that way, but I am highly amused. I've got more Bapa Buzz coming. I'll try. No, I had no Bapa Buzz in me. All right, let's start. Let's get this show on the road, shall we? What do you think?
Yes, let's
Can
go.
pod down Melvin Taylor. Hi, how you guys doing? My name's Tom Duggan with the Paying Attention Podcast. High atop, no, not Two Guys Smoke Shop. Nope, we've got a brand new studio today. High atop Main Street, North Andover at the Valley Patriot Studios here at NCAM. We made a great deal with NCAM, and let me start with my sponsors, and then we'll talk about the new studio.
Please.
I want to thank Century 21 McLennan Real Estate, the Zanny Pescherino.
Is it Pesh?
Could be Pesh.
Okay.
Law office in Methuen on Merrimack Street. Marstead & Son Construction. EIS, Investigation and Gun Training. The Bonfire Wellness Center right here in North Andover. Tomo and Shaken Seafood. Clear Path for Veterans, New England. AFC Urgent Care. Pleasant Valley Landscaping Contractors. Prime Insurance, the Doug Mercurio Law Office. Chris's Barbershop on Main Street in Salem, New Hampshire. Enterprise Bank, which you really, I don't like to go to the bank. I like to do everything on my phone. But if you could see the women that work at Enterprise Bank.
Oh goodness.
Oh my, you got to go in. Like, you have to go in. Like, every time I get a check, I want to deposit it on my phone. And I think of Marilyn over at Enterprise Bank, and I go, no, I got to go in and I got to see Marilyn. Enterprise Bank, we love them. Who do we have left? W3ON. Free shout out to 4 Star Lighting, my buddy Joe. We're going to get him back on the show at some point. And another free shout out to our buddies, the Jaffrita brothers at JG's Ice Cream, because it doesn't matter how cold it is. It's always a good day for JG's Ice Cream.
What's your favorite ice cream?
If I'm going to get a tub of ice cream, it's coffee ice cream. But if I'm going to go to like JG's Ice Cream, I'm going to get like a bunch of different stuff. I'm going to get like maybe a banana split with marshmallow and whatever sugar delivery system I can get into my body. I'm going to have like hot fudge and peanut butter and marshmallow and all that stuff.
I always go for butter pecan. I like butter pecan.
Yeah?
That's my favorite.
Yeah, all right. Whatever ice cream you like, again, even though it's like 12 degrees outside, JG's Ice Cream is the place to be. All right, so let's just start real quick. Let's pull up Dave Garofalo. We missed Dave. I'm going to miss Chrissy a lot. So I've been getting a lot of emails from people saying, where's the show? We haven't had a show in 2 weeks. So Chrissy gave her notice 3 weeks ago that she was going to be leaving Studio 21 Podcast Cafe because her band is doing so well that she's not making enough money to like kill her entire day on a Thursday to come to the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe and just do my show. And when I first started 7 years ago at Studio 21, there were like 15 podcasts going on there. There was like the Barbecue Show, Barbecue Pit Authority, and the Snack Authority, and a whole bunch of other shows that were going on. There was a real estate show, a baseball card show. And then when COVID hit, everybody realized they could save money by doing their show at home or in their basement or in their attic and not have to pay like $200 or $300 to rent studio time. And so when COVID was over, most of those people didn't come back. And so for the last couple of years, I did not know this until very recently, but for the last couple of years, Dave Garofalo at Two Guys Smoke Shop was carrying me. He wasn't making any money on my show. In fact, he was losing money on my show. So when Chrissy said she was leaving, I floated the idea of hiring you. By the way, our producer is Carlotta, my
Intern girl,
Carlotta Castillo. And I said, well, maybe we'll just hire Carlotta. And he said, you know what, honestly, I'd have to train her. I'd have to pay money to train her. I don't have it. And honestly, Tom, for the last 2 years, I've been losing money because you're the only podcast here. But we love Dave Garofalo. I have nothing bad to say about Dave at all. He put up with a lot of shit, allowing my show to be there because you got the Kellys and the Debos and you had the Julissa Nunez's, the Badge Bunny. You had the Steve Sabers of the world, and you had the Jim McCartys of the world, all the people in Methuen that didn't like what I was saying on my show, constantly calling and threatening. They did a boycott. They did a picket outside Two Guys Smoke Shop. And he put up with all of it, and he stuck by me every step of the way. He never wavered. Even a Debo walked in one day demanding to see him, showing him legal papers and all this crap, and they told him to go F himself. And so I want to say thank you to Dave Garofalo for 7 great years of the Paying Attention podcast, which was the Paying Attention radio show for 30-some-odd years. And Dave and I just clicked right away. And, we have a similar philosophy in life. He's a free speech advocate. Okay. He's a free speech absolutist, as I am.
And he's also a great salesman.
He's a great salesman. And he even came on as a guest a bunch of times, and we talked about some of the stuff the Two Guys was doing. So I want to say thank you to Dave Garofalo. He even gave us $2,100 every year for our scholarships for the Valley Patriot Bash.
Unbelievable.
And so he's been a good friend. He's still a good friend. And who knows, we may end up back there at some point. Maybe if the culture of podcasts change, or if you can find a way to get more podcasts in there so he's making money, because I hate to cost people money. I can't. When he told me that, I actually lost sleep that night. I was like, my God, this guy carried me for 2 years, didn't say a word.
And gives to the scholarships.
And gives to the scholarship. And I felt
a great guy.
So bad that I ended up costing him money. So I said, you know what? We'll see if we can find another spot. And we came in. We made a great deal with NCAM. And I'm sure they'll be getting phone calls too, but we've already warned them. They're ready for it. So, Debo, you can come all you want. They're not going to listen. But give it a try. Like, it's always amusing when I hear the stories afterwards. Mm-hmm. But they are going to get some complaints. They are going to get some problems because I don't do a show where I just tell everybody about happy things, like Student of the Month at the tennis school and gardening tips and stuff like that. We talk about controversial things on this program. And we've always talked about, going back to my very first show in 1999 on WCCM, we talk about controversial things that are going to make people mad. Mm-hmm. And by the way, if I make you mad on this show, send me an email, valleypatriot@aol.com. I love to read your hate mail. I get a lot of it.
Or if you want to be a sponsor.
Well, if you want to be a sponsor, it's great. It's $200 a month, and we'll roll your ad at the bottom of the screen. We'll read you at the beginning and at the end of the show, and sometimes even in the middle of the show. And all sponsors of the Paying Attention podcast are welcome to come on the show. So we have routinely had the owners of AFC Urgent Care on the show. We've routinely had Dave Consoli from Pleasant Valley Landscaping Contractors on the show. We had the owner of Joe from 4-Star Lighting's been on. So we'd love to have you. $200 a month, and we don't really need more advertising. We don't really need more sponsors, but we'll take them. So if you're an advertiser, when you buy an ad in the Eagle Tribune, you know what you get? You get an ad in the Eagle Tribune. That one time, and that's it. You buy an ad with the Valley Patriot or you sponsor the show, you get me. You don't just get an ad. You get me. You get, I'm going to promote you on Facebook. I'm going to promote you on Twitter. I'm going to promote you on the podcast, in the newspaper, at the bash. Everything that we do, if you're helping us and you're part of what we call the Valley Patriot family, you're part of the Valley Patriot family, and that's it. And so we have people that advertise. We've got we have a restaurant that advertises seasonally. So she comes in like in the spring, and then she pulls back in the summer, and then in the fall she comes back. And then in the winter, she might do one or two, but then in the spring, she comes back. We run her ads straight through the year. So even on the off seasons, we run her ads anyway. We don't charge her because she's a member of the Valley Patriot family, and that's how we treat the people who support us. All right, so let's get to the show, right?
Yes.
So I want to thank, again, everybody. Well, first, I want to thank Dave Garofalo for sure. I love that guy a lot. I'm going to actually miss seeing him once a week. I'm going to miss seeing Chrissy once a week, too.
Thanks a lot.
But we do have, I think, a great new partnership here in North Andover. So we're high atop Main Street in the Valley Patriot Studios. This is going to work out extremely well. And by the way, they're really ready for the backlash. They're like they've actually hired extra people just to handle it.
Nice.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty funny if they try. All right, so let's get going with. So what is our first thing? What do you have as like 001?
I have Cody's, is it?
All right, so let's talk about what the bash is for a minute. So you can leave that up. So, well, let me tell you, this thing has grown so much. This year we're celebrating our 20th anniversary. Last year we celebrated our 20th anniversary. This year, 21st. Last year we raised $58,100 was our final total. We gave
unbelievable
for eight students that we chose. And again, a lot of people thank me for it. I'm the guy that drives the engine, but it's the people in the community that see what we're doing.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go through the kids today for the podcast. Our first podcast, I wanted to be about the kids. But how this works is, and one of the reasons why even people don't like me contribute to the scholarships, we don't touch a penny of this money. So if you donate $100, say you send me $100 in Venmo, and you say, I want this to go to the Lawrence High School Junior ROTC kid.
Yes.
You send me $100 in Venmo, but I don't get $100. I get $97 because Venmo takes 3%. We kick in the extra $3, and that kid gets $100. So everyone knows, and when you donate, I go on Facebook and say, Carlotta Castillo, thank you for donating $100 to the Lawrence High Scholarship. I post the kid's name so that he and his parents can keep a running total at home of what was donated.
Or anyone else that it's also keeping up with.
Right, yes. Anybody, because you'll always have the Debos out there, and the Sharon Burchell one day said, he doesn't give the money to the scholarships. Well, anybody who follows me on Facebook knows, not only do we give every penny, but we actually kick in $3 of every 100 if you donate on PayPal, Venmo, Eventbrite, or Cash App. We have all four of those. So we use door money for that. We use some raffle money for that. And so now we have our bash. We have 7, I think, scholarship kids this year. And let's talk about each of what these scholarships are. So what you see on your screen is Dan Cody on the left and his sister Nicole Cameron, who served with me on the Lawrence Lions Club. So after we did the Lawrence High and the Vogue Scholarship, a guy named Al Valou from Haverhill, I think he still lives in Haverhill, came to my office the week after Dan Cody passed away. So Dan Cody worked for Cody's Towing. He was hit by a drunk driver on 495 right before the bash. And he came to me with tears in his eyes and said, I knew Dan. Dan was a friend of mine. I want to start a scholarship in Dan's name. The bash is like in a week or 2 weeks. Do you have time? I said, we'll make it work. So he donated, I think, $1,000 the first year for seed money. And I think that year we raised about $4,000 or $5,000 for that scholarship. So up on the screen there is Dan Cody and Nicole. And so what Nicole does every year now is she kind of takes it upon herself to make sure that the Dan Cody Scholarship raises the most money of all the scholarships. It's become a big competition now. And she's holding secret music bingos on the side, that nobody knows about, right? And then she shows up, whatever the number is the night of the bash, when we walk into the room, we know it's going to jump $3,000 or $4,000 because she's going to come with a check for, one year she had the Clan McPherson Bagpipe Band on St. Patrick's Day goes to all the different bars in the Merrimack Valley, and they pass a hat around. So last year they passed a hat around, and all that money went to the Dan Cody Scholarship.
Unbelievable.
So
what a way to honor her brother.
Right? So every time someone makes a donation, we don't just post a thank you to the person that donated, we post a picture of the kid getting the donation. We tag him so his parents can keep a running total. And we also post a picture of Dan Cody because this is in memory of Dan Cody, and what better way to honor the person whose the scholarship's named after. All right. So I know I'm probably over-explaining, but that's why.
Great.
So the next slide should be, so this is this year's scholarship winner. Her name is Braylon McGuire from North Andover. Now, every scholarship has its own requirement.
Requirements, yep.
So the requirement on this was, Al Valou said he wanted to make sure that the kid who got this scholarship went to Thompson Grammar School in North Andover, because Dan Cody went to Thompson Grammar School, but his 2 kids, when he died, were at Thompson Grammar School.
Okay.
And he said, well, my dream is, this is him talking, he said, my dream is when his son Patrick gets old enough that this scholarship will go to him. And then when his other son, I'm sorry, I can't remember his other son's name, graduates from high school and goes to college, that he will also get this. So I made a promise to him. I said, if either one of those kids end up going to college, and this is still going, like it was, I don't know, 6 or 7 years ago, right? I said, if this is still going and we still have a bash, we still have a newspaper, who knows what's going to happen. But if all of that happens, if Dan Cody's kid comes up and graduates and is going to college, we will raise the money for Dan Cody's kid. And 2 years ago, I think we gave him about $9,500, somewhere in that neighborhood, like I think it was $9,000. It was $9,500 or something for Patrick Cody. And then his youngest son ended up not going to college. Otherwise, we would have had a scholarship for him. This year, it's Braylon McGuire from North Andover. She went to Thompson. She is a rock star. She's got a huge grade point average. We had several nominations for this scholarship. We went through them. This is one of the few scholarships that I actually pick, because Superintendent Gilligan usually picks it, but North Andover politics is the way that it is. They railroaded him out of his job as the superintendent. And I hope that he comes this year anyway. Like, I know he's not superintendent anymore. I really hope he comes and he helps us do this, because he's such a good guy. I've known him for so long. I've known him since he was the principal at the Thompson School, and my 2 girls were going to the Thompson School. That's how long I've known him, so hopefully he will. All right, what do we got next? Next should be Lawrence High School, right? So the Lawrence High School is the one we've been doing the longest. We started at our 8th anniversary or our 9th anniversary because of Chris Eldridge. And I am still the president of the Lawrence Lions Club. And this is Eugene Smith. Eugene Smith is a 91-year-old Korean War veteran who was on the Lawrence Lions with me for years and years, and said to me before our bash, maybe about 10 years ago, he said, I'll tell you what, I have my own nonprofit for veterans. And I will donate $1,000 to the Lawrence High Scholarship, but I want it to go to a kid who's in ROTC. I want it to go to a kid who cares about our military, is going into the military. And I know they've got the GI Bill and all that stuff, but the GI Bill doesn't cover everything. Sometimes it doesn't cover housing, it doesn't cover books, it doesn't cover fees.
Travel.
So we want to make sure that if the kid's going into the military, we can cover all their expenses. So can you guarantee me from now on that the Lawrence High kid that gets the scholarship is going to be ROTC? I said, fine. And so every year he goes up. I think he's up to $1,500 this year that he's donating. He goes up a little bit every year. Excuse me. And every year when we give out this scholarship, our good friend John Radka, who another hero veteran who started Veterans Northeast Outreach, would come to this event and would donate not only money from Veterans Northeast Outreach, but he would also donate money out of his pocket. And anybody who knew John Radka, God bless his soul, did not have a pot to piss in. He had been divorced. His wife took him for everything. He didn't have a lot of money. But he still took money. As poor as he was, he still scrounged up enough money to donate out of his pocket for this scholarship. He's the next picture. Sure. This is John Radka. He started Veterans Northeast Outreach. He didn't buy it. He didn't take it over from someone else. He started it from scratch. He bought an old church building in Haverhill, renovated it, started purchasing apartment complexes in Haverhill, applied for grants, got private donations, and anytime I called him or Randy Carter or Jason Gilbert when they worked over there and said, we found a veteran in Lawrence, he's homeless, he's on the banks of the Merrimack, he's in a tent, it's the middle of February, John and Randy would get in their car, 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, climb down the banks of the Merrimack River, talk to the guy, make sure he's really a veteran, because a lot of people lie, but make sure he's a veteran. There's a couple of questions you can ask people that you can tell, especially if you are a veteran. I'm not.
They ask you things like they did to the Secretary of Defense.
Right,
like,
right.
You know, how many rounds does this have?
Right.
Like, you know.
So
kind of
he passed away a few years ago.
Oh, okay.
And he passed away shortly before the bash. And he passed away the day after I received it and deposited his check for the scholarship. So I called Eugene and I said, Eugene, we named the scholarship for Lawrence High after you. It's the Eugene Smith Lawrence High Junior ROTC Scholarship. Do you mind if we add a name? And he said, who? And I said, John Radke. He said, I'd be on it. So we now call the Lawrence High School Scholarship. You can bounce to the next. So we now call it the Eugene Smith John Radke Memorial Scholarship. And this year it is J. Ronnie Ferrin. He has a 4.0 grade point average. He is a really super kid. Does a lot of community service work. He's junior ROTC. Look at all of those medals. He's actually the commander of the junior ROTC. So normally, up until this past year, we would call the commander of the junior ROTC, who was a retired military guy, who would run the program. And we'd say, we want you to find us a kid that's not getting a lot of scholarships. That, by the way, that's a requirement for all of our kids. I don't want a kid that's getting a lot of scholarships. I want a kid that really needs the money. And so they would find a kid. They'd give us like 2 or 3 nominations. And then one of the people on my board would pick the kid and come to me, and I'd check their Facebook to make sure that, you know, they're not like doing things like F the police, you know, on their Facebook page or whatever. You know, make sure that they're not, you know, they're not rabble-rousers. This is the Valley Patriot is a night of honoring police officers, firefighters, and veterans. And I'm not going to take their money and give it to a kid that is disrespectful to the military or police. Anyways, so this year we called the commander, and J. Ronnie answered the phone. And Kevin Druin is the guy who does our outreach for this. And he called J. Ronnie, said, oh, you're the commander. Can you find us a kid who's not getting a lot of scholarships? And he said, can I nominate myself? And so Kevin said, I'm not sure. Let me call Tom. So he called me and go, I don't even know anything about him. I want to give it to him just for asking the question.
Yeah.
Like just for asking. And I said, but call him back and find out if he's getting other scholarships. Like if he's got 20 other scholarships, let's give it to a different kid. And he called back and he said, not only is he not getting a lot of other scholarships, he's really not getting any other scholarships, at least not as of right now. And his parents are immigrants, and he's had a tough time. I'm not going to go through his personal life, but we've looked into it, and he's a great kid. And so, by the way, the Venmo that you see, you can use to donate to any of these scholarship kids. Make sure you list which scholarship you want your donation to go to. All right, the next one is... Oh, Dan Strange. So my friend Dan Strange, we call the Haverhill High School Scholarship. It was originally started by Scott Wood, and Dan Strange came in the first year and said, which one of... Now, Dan's been a friend of mine for a long time. He was Secret Service. Nobody knew that. Everybody knew he was in law enforcement but didn't know what he did. He also worked a lot with the state police. He did a lot of undercover type stuff. And he came to us the first year that Scott Wood started the Haverhill High School Scholarship and said, which one of your scholarship kids always ends up at the bottom? And I said, well, Haverhill is kind of outside of our area. We do deliver in Haverhill. We cover Haverhill news. But really the people that know us is Lawrence, Methuen, Andover, North Andover. So Haverhill's usually at the bottom. He said, okay, I want to adopt that kid every year. And I either want to do a matching scholarship. So if somebody donates 20, I'll match the 20. Okay. Somebody donates 500, I'm going to match the 500. And he took this on himself, all by himself, without us asking, and raised money every year for the Haverhill High School Scholarship. And about 4 years ago, Dan's cancer came back, and he passed. And right before the bash, we were heartbroken. It was a very tough bash for me to get up at the microphone and look out where he always sits and not have him there. And he always used to come up and help us present this scholarship. So we named our Haverhill High School Scholarship after Dan. That's actually him sitting in the lobby waiting for his chemo treatment, for his first chemo treatment when he first got diagnosed. He sent me that. So this year, our Dan Strange Memorial Scholarship winner is a girl named Cecilia Geyer. Don't let the purple hair fool you. They're a really conservative family. So the D. O'Neill, who helps us pick the student, Usually it's Scott Wood and Dee O'Neill, and then they flip back and forth. Dee O'Neill called me. She said, I've got a great girl, and she sent me all of her information, and I saw the purple hair, and I went, I don't know if that's going to work. And she said, why? I said, well, here's the thing. I'm never going to hold anybody's politics against them. But again, this is a room where we're going to honor firefighters, police officers, and veterans. And if she's woke, woke people have a hostility toward authority and cops and the military. And, Dan Strange was police. He was Secret Service. He was everything that she's probably not. And she's so I'm on the phone with Dee O'Neill, and she starts laughing. She goes, when I went to the house to interview the kid, there was a huge Trump sign on the lawn. I said, okay, she's in.
She's in.
She's in. She's in. So it's not necessarily because of her politics. We have 2 kids on our program this year that are not conservative at all. Most kids today aren't conservative. And we don't care what their politics are. I just don't want anybody to hate the cops.
Yeah, that's the one thing.
That's the only thing. Because as I started to say, and we'll talk about it later on, is this ties in with my dad a lot. And we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
All right, so Cecilia is going to be a nurse. And she's right now at the bottom of the pack again because we don't have Dan Strange anymore. Dee O'Neill is trying to do some kind of a fundraiser for her. But if you're thinking of donating and you're not sure who to donate for, her and our next student, I think we should probably. Now, if somebody sends me a donation, say $100, and says, put it to where you think it's most needed, or they don't tell me where they want it to go, I will look at the kid that's at the bottom, and it's this one and the next one, and I'll give it to them. Okay. Nice. Getting stuffed up here.
Oh.
All right. Yep, I'm good.
All right.
Next. So what's the next one? All right. So this is our Greater Lawrence Tech scholarship winner. Recently lost a parent. 4.0 or 3.9 grade point average. His name is Thomas Costas. And he's from the Greater Lawrence Tech. I already told you the story about how he started Greater Lawrence Tech. Jessica Finicaro, who doesn't even speak to me, won't even take my calls, by the way. But she started this because she was on the Greater Lawrence Tech School Committee. She came to me one day, as I said, and I said, okay, we'll do a scholarship for Greater Lawrence. This is the 10th year we're doing the Greater Lawrence Tech Scholarship. This is the 10th anniversary. And so last year, I think we raised $6,800 for this scholarship. I'm hoping we can get that above 7 this year if we can.
What is he going to school for?
So he's going to school for, you know what? I should know this because I went through all the bios and I can't remember. I think he's going to go to school for computer tech.
Okay, nice.
I'm pretty sure that's what he's going to school.
Great. So let's go to the next one.
Next one is, so this is Phil Glendine. Here's another guy that was at the bash every year. He was a special needs teacher at Lawrence High School. And every year, like around the first week of May, maybe June, he would call me. I remember the first time he called me about 12 years ago, he said, Tom, you're not going to believe this, but we found a way to get the Special Olympics to come to Lawrence. And it's going to be at the Lawrence Veterans Memorial Stadium. It's going to be on a Saturday morning. Oh, no, it was a Thursday morning at like 8 o'clock. And I was like, 8 o'clock? I'm just climbing into bed at 5. You want me to be somewhere at 8 a.m.? Like, really? He's like, well, listen, if you want to come, you can. So I went. I actually didn't go to bed that night because I knew if I did, I'd never get up. Went down. I was so moved by what him and the Lawrence High School crew had done with the special needs Olympics, the Special Olympics, that we went every year. And every year he came to the bash and donated money for the Lawrence High ROTC scholarship.
Nice.
And a few years ago, he passed. And somebody from Lawrence High alumni, I think it was Eric Melanson, came and said, we're not going to have Phil Glendine this year. And he usually buys a table, and he comes with his sister and his family. And is there something we can do for him? And at that point, we only had 4 scholarship kids on the program. So I said, why don't we do a special needs scholarship for a special needs kid?
Okay.
Like, what special needs kid is getting a scholarship, right? They're special
Not
needs.
many.
They're probably not going to qualify for a lot. So we gave out, for the last 4 or 5 years, we gave out scholarships to a special needs kid. And this year, somebody approached me and said, does it have to be a kid that's special needs? Can it be a kid going in to study to be a special needs teacher?
Okay.
Because Phil was a special needs teacher. So I said, somebody on my committee asked me, and I said, if we don't have a special needs kid apply, then we'll give it to a kid that's going into special needs. And as of the first week of January, we didn't have a kid that was special needs. I put out a call to Lawrence High, Methuen High, North Andover High, and I got no nominations. So I called my committee member back that had floated the idea, and I said, who do you have in mind? And they said, this young lady. This is Abby Mendes. Abby Mendes is a cheerleader at Methuen High School. She is a volunteer who comes to TMF with her cheerleading team, has come to TMF with her cheerleading team to help feed the homeless. Wow. Now, if I had 12 applicants and I read that on hers, even if I had 12 applicants, she still would have gone to the top. Because if you're helping the homeless, if you're actually doing something, not just like standing around pretending, but if you're actually out there trying to do something to help people who are most in need, then that's always going to get my eye more than other stuff like, volunteering at church or something, right? So Abby is a cheerleader, and she has a really special story. We're going to talk about it that night, but the short is that she, at 10 years old, was cheering and got a concussion. The kid that was supposed to catch her didn't catch her. And she had severe headaches, couldn't concentrate, had to go on an IEP, had to go into special needs. And over the years, I guess over the last couple of years, the doctors finally figured out a way to relieve her pain. And she's now off an IEP. She's no longer in special needs. Nice. She's now cheering for the Methuen cheerleading team, right? And she actually came. Somebody sent me a picture of her at TMF helping to feed the homeless, and I said, this kid's got to have a scholarship. So this is Abby Mendes, and again, you can use the Venmo if you want and just put her name, or you can put Phil Glendy or special needs. Just put something so that I know which student that you want it to go to. Have I bored everybody already or no?
A little
bit. All right.
This is important stuff.
It is important stuff, and I'm going to do it again before the bash, but I'm not going to spend as much time. I just want people to understand
the backstory.
When we talk about what the bash is, a lot of people ask, what is the bash? There's no short answer to it. Because it has grown, and we've added things to it over the years that it's not an anniversary party anymore, and it's not a scholarship night anymore. So this is Natalie Delano. We wrote a story about her in the Valley Patriot 6 months ago. As being one of the top kids in Massachusetts in Skills USA. And she applied for the Whittier Tech Scholarship, which I was going to do away with because that kid's always at the bottom with the Haverhill kid every year, so I was thinking of merging them. And Natalie Delano just came out of the woodwork, applied. We said, okay, we'll give it one more shot. Right now, she's in third place.
Wow.
Like, she's in third place, so she's a mover and a shaker. Her parents are pretty well known. Her father's a Methuen police officer. Her mother is a police dispatcher, and she's got a great grade point average, and she's going to be, isn't this awful? I should have had it in front of me. I think she's going into nursing as well. Okay. I think. I'll look it up, and I'll post something on the comments if I got that wrong, because I hate to get any of that stuff wrong. Okay. And she's a good kid. Like, I went through her Facebook page, and there's a lot there. The kid's doing a lot. She's donating her time and doing a lot for the community. All right, what do we have next? All right, so the last one that we do every year, so we don't pick the kid. This is Edmund Lowe. Edmund Lowe was the first American to die in Afghanistan in the Afghanistan War. He's from Salem, New Hampshire, and he was an ROTC kid in Salem, New Hampshire. And he joined the military after he graduated high school, shortly after he graduated high school, went to Afghanistan, and he died. His father and mother, Mr. and Mrs. Lowe, happened to be my computer technicians. I didn't know any of this. Anytime I have a problem with my laptop, I bring it to Jasmine's Computer Service in Salem, New Hampshire on 28. And I love the Lowe's. They're wonderful people. And one day a friend of mine said, hey, you're friends with some friends of mine. I'm like, who? And they said, the Lowe's. And I said, oh, yeah, I love the Lowe's. They're good people. They said, did you ever hear about their son? And I said, no. And they told me the story. And I was heartbroken that I never knew that. So the next time I went in, I said, I don't know if we're going to be able to raise a lot of money, but please come to the bash. You're a Gold Star family. We give you free tickets. You get a free table. Bring your friends, bring your family, whoever you want. We'll give you a table of 10 for free. We sit them up front every year, and we put out a call. And this year we've already raised about $4,000. This is, I think this is their 10th year with us. They're already up to $4,000. They're in second place. And so what they do is they do like what we do. They do like their own kind of bash, but they do theirs in April. And so they haven't chosen their kid yet. So whatever money we've raised for the Edmund Lowe Scholarship, we present them a check the night of the bash. And then in April, when they have their event, they invite us, and they have us help present the check to the kid that they pick.
Okay.
So the kids that they pick are generally kids that are in ROTC because Edmund was an ROTC kid. And so Mr. Lowe and his son Norman and Mrs. Lowe has since passed. She passed 2 years ago of COVID. So it's now just Mr. Lowe and Norman and his sister, whose name I'm sorry I can't remember. So those are our scholarship kids. We have 7 great kids, 6 great kids, 1 kid to be chosen later on, and a team to be named later, right? We've really great kids. And I don't pick the kids. Like this year I think I picked 2 of the kids, and normally I pick none of the kids. Normally someone else picks all the kids. We don't see the kids. We don't talk to the kids. Usually I meet them for the first time that night in the room. And it's a great night, especially if they bring their parents. And, you get to talk to them a little bit afterwards when the bash is over, and they kind of hang around in the bar later on. And you get to hear their stories about,
Yeah, I have a question, actually. How can students go about applying for scholarships in the future?
So toward the end of the year, you really like around Christmas time, before January, they can email me. The thing is, we have 7 scholarships, but each scholarship has its own requirement, right? So there's Cody Scholarship, you had to have gone to Thompson. The Methuen Scholarship, you have to be special needs or going into special needs. But if you email me at any point and say, what are the scholarship categories? And see if your kid fits. And if your kid fits, send me an email. It doesn't have to be an official application. Some people, one of our students this year wrote like a 5-page manuscript practically, and I was like, wait, this is way too much. We just want to make sure that it's going to a kid that needs it. I don't want a kid that's when I went to college,
report card,
right?
You need a report
right.
card.
We want to make sure that they've got good grades. I mean, they don't have to be stellar, but we want a kid that's going to do well, a kid that's going to stay in college, and we want a kid that needs the money, and we want a kid that that's going to make us proud. One of the greatest things that I love about my job is randomly, like in August, I'll go to the post office and get my mail, and there'll be a letter from one of my previous scholarship kids. I got one just very recently from a kid that graduated 8 years ago, from college 8 years ago, right?
Wow.
And said that he had started his own business. He's doing what he always wanted to do. And if we hadn't raised the money to help him get to school, he's not sure he would have been able to do it. But either way, he wanted me to thank everybody in the BASH committee and everybody that donated, and asked me for a list of all the people that donated to his scholarship so he could send them letters. I was in tears at my desk. I'm like, in a world where nobody's grateful for anything today, here's a kid that remembered us 8 years after he graduated, and he's not because he's still in school or he wants more money for books, because we have that too. But just because he wanted to say thank you, and that was really nice. What else goes on at this bash? So I know we've gone a little over. I'm going to go real quick. So because we started the Valley Patriot, and just by happenstance we started on the 7th of March. That's my dad's birthday. My father, for those of you who may not know, I don't know how you couldn't, but some people might not know, he was murdered in the line of duty. He was a Lawrence police officer. And so that never sat well with me, and I said, we want this to go to a cop that is underappreciated, a guy that goes out and does the work every day. Maybe he's done something heroic, maybe he hasn't, but he still goes out every day and he does the grind. He goes out and he does the grind, he shows up when he's supposed to, he does the right thing, and especially because my father was very good at, most people don't know this, and my family's going to be horrified that I'm saying it out loud, but I can't help myself. My father would turn in other cops. On more than one occasion. And that was another reason why the higher-ups in the Lawrence Police Department did not like him. There were more than one occasion when my father would go to the state police or somewhere outside the department and say, there's someone you need in my department you need to look at. And so those are the cops I want. I want the good cops that are turning on bad cops. I want the guy that's underappreciated and doesn't fit with the political insiders and isn't getting all of the awards, but goes out there and puts his life on the line every day. So last year we gave it to Derek Licata in Methuen. We're going to have another Methuen winner this year. We had no firefighters last year, so we're going to have, I think, a Lawrence firefighter this year. All right, next award. We've only got 2 more, then we're going to wrap it up. Here we go, John Ratker again. I don't know if you guys are sick of John, but no, go back to John.
Oh, go back to him?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
So we not only do a scholarship in John's name, because I love this guy so much, as you can tell. So after he passed away, we were giving out our Hero Veteran Awards, and we decided to name it after John Ratker, because this is a guy that helped homeless veterans and did a lot to do that. We've given out one to a non-veteran, and that was Mark LaPlante. Lawrence City Councilor Mark LaPlante has written a book about World War I veterans and researches on his own World War I veterans that were Lawrence residents that no one knew and have no square named after them. They have no park named after them. And he and Greg Del Rosario go out of their way to try and, mostly Mark, to try and honor those veterans from World War I that have been forgotten. There's a reason they call it the Forgotten War. And the veterans have certainly been forgotten. Otherwise, this goes to a hero veteran. I let Randy Carter pick who the winner is. Him and Jason from Clear Path. They used to be at Veterans Northeast Outreach with John until John passed. And so I think we do that that's the first award we give out for the night.
Nice.
So.
All right.
And then here's our final award. I think this is the final one. So we lost Frank Can 2 years ago. Frank ran FH Can Associates in North Andover, multi-million-dollar corporation. Always came to TMF to help feed the homeless. This is the guy that had so much money it was ridiculous, and yet came to the bash, donated money to scholarships, did not want to be thanked on Facebook. Anytime you see me thanking an anonymous person on Facebook, it's usually somebody like Frank, and did everything he could to help Mike Gorman and TMF. Mike Gorman's the guy on the left, and Frank is on the right. So when he passed, we have what we call our Lifetime Achievement Award at the bash. And last year, our Lifetime Achievement Award winner was Leo Lamontagne from the Greater Lawrence Tech School Board and Joe Bevilacqua from the Greater Lawrence Chamber of Commerce. And we decided last year that we were going to name this award. Just last year, we made the decision after Frank Can. So this year, we've got 2 Lifetime Achievement Awards we're going to give out. One is a very well-known person here in North Andover, and the other one is a business owner in Methuen, and neither one of them know they're getting the award. We're going to try and keep it that way for as long as we can. And I think that's it. Do we have another one? Do we have one more?
We have 2 more.
We have 2 more. Okay, you're right. You are right. Scott Clegg was a very good friend of mine and did a lot for the homeless, did a lot for people. So we have what we call our Scott Clegg it's our Scott Clegg Public Service Award. Mike Gorman was the first person to win this award for all the stuff that he does for the homeless. The following year, we gave it to his mom, and she was just so shocked. Carrie Weiland has won this award. Last year, Dr. Natalie from the Greater Lawrence Family Health Center and her mobile crew that goes out and gives free physicals and free medical care to the homeless got this award. So this award goes to people who are out there doing the work, not getting thanked. It's a big thing with me. People being underappreciated is a big thing with me because I just really hate the fact that there are people out there that because people don't like them, even though they do good work, they don't get thanked for it. And I saw it with my dad. I had a little bit of that myself when I was growing up, and it eats at me. And Scott was that way too. Scott was always looking for the guy to help the guy that nobody else wanted to help. And so we named our Public Service Award after Scott Clegg. We have 3 people getting this award at the bash this year. And then what's the next one?
And now our tote board.
So here's our tote board as of right now. So by the time you see this is going to change, right? Because my phone's bouncing while we're taping the show today. But this is where we were as of Thursday, the 20th of February. We've still got 5 weeks to go. Our goal is 60,000. So we've got quite a climb to go. But don't worry, Devo, we're going to get there. And the junior ROTC is in the lead right now. Don't let that Cody number at the bottom fool you. They hold back their donations till the end because they want to make sure they're going to win. Yeah. So the bottom 2 right now really are, if you forget Cody, and please donate to Cody if you're from North Andover and you knew Dan Cody. We want you to do that. But it looks like the bottom 2 right now are going to be the Methuen High School Phil Glendy Award and the Dan Strange Memorial Scholarship for a guy from Haverhill, and then the Greater Lawrence Tech. I'm so surprised Whittier's in 3rd place, but she's a good kid, and she's got a really well-known family, so that's probably helping her. So that's what the bash is, and we do a lot of other stuff, as if that's not enough, right? We do a whole lot of other stuff throughout the night. We have some surprises. We don't keep any of the money, and that's, when people like Sharon go on Facebook and they start spreading their lies, just divide by 3. Our raffle money last year went to Sweet Paws Dog Adoption Agency, Pet Adoptions. I can't remember where the 50-50 went to another nonprofit. I think it was another dog rescue. So every avenue of revenue that comes into this bash, whether it's a scholarship donation, a sponsorship of the program book, the raffles, the 50-50s, whatever it is that we're doing to raise money, all of it is going to go to a good cause. And if there's ever anything left over, sometimes there is. Sometimes there's a little bit of money left over. Somebody maybe buys the ticket but forgets to pay us, and 3 weeks after the bash we get a check. We go, okay, now we get an extra $1,000. What do we do with it? We put it aside, and when things come up like the menorah lighting in North Andover during Hanukkah in December, or there's an exchange club event going on and they're looking for sponsors, they're looking for someone to help them, we will use that money. This year, we had, after we did all of that, this year we had $850 left over from last year. From people paying late. And so that money is going to get rolled into whichever scholarship needs it the most the night of the bash.
Oh, okay.
So everything is accounted for. We do it publicly. We don't have to.
Very transparent. But
no veteran or active duty military should ever have to pay for a Valley Patriot event. They never will as long as I'm around. And that's pretty much it. We've got a brand new committee this year. Intern girl is on our committee. I'm so glad to have you. I'm not just saying because you're here. You're multi-talented. And so this year we're going in a different direction. In a lot of ways. Brand new podcast studio, brand new podcast, brand new producer, brand new bash location, brand new bash committee. There's a lot of brand new things happening.
Brand new intern.
Brand new intern
it's
girl.
I'm going to be, 6 months next month.
Really?
So, yeah, and you said, let's see if she makes it 6 months.
I did. Most of my interns don't last.
I got a lot of people unfollow me on my podcast.
Listen, they're doing you a favor.
Yeah, there are a lot of people reach out, say they don't want to work with me, or they don't agree with the things that I say, or me working with you. So, to be honest, I don't care. No,
believe me, they're doing you a favor. It's the trash taking itself out, because you don't want to be around people that are going to be knee-jerk reactionary. Because then if you allow those people to be around you, eventually you're going to say or do something that they're going to take the wrong way. And they're going to overreact and cause you problems. Yeah. You don't want to be around people that you have to worry that they're my friend now, but they're going to learn stuff about me. This is what the Debo and Kellys of the world do. They become your friends so that they can learn stuff about you to use against you later. Yeah. And so you don't want those people around. You just don't want. I've had interns that were great, and I even had a male intern that I had a problem with one day. I made an off-color joke, but he's a dude. He should have been able to handle it. Yeah. If you don't like it, that's okay. No hard feelings. Go work for Huffington Post. You know what I mean? Go work for the Boston Globe. People they get fired because they have a T-shirt with the wrong message on it. Oh, you know what I mean? So go deal with that.
Right. Want to thank our sponsors?
Oh yeah, let's thank the sponsors. Let's roll up Mel and thank the sponsors and see if we can. The one good thing about being here, the only so far good thing other than having you is we're not on a time crunch. Chrissy she was good. She let me go over, but we really didn't have a time crunch. All right, let's roll up Mel and thank everybody on the... Yeah. I don't hear it.
I don't hear it.
No, I don't hear it.
It's not working.
I'll thank the sponsors anyway. Century 21 McLennan, you can keep trying to make that work, though. Century 21 McLennan Real Estate, the Zanny Pesci Law Office, Zanny Pesh Law Office. By the way, Jane is Zanny Pesci, sexiest woman. I don't care what anybody says she is. She just is. There's just no way around it. Although there's a pop star named Bebe Rexha. Do you know who that is?
No.
Bebe Rexha, who's probably the second sexiest woman. Marston and Son Construction, EIS investigation and gun training. I had to try and offend people in this video before since we're talking about offending people, why not always try? Tomo and Shaken Seafood.
Never a dull moment.
I can already hear the hate mail being written. Clear Path for Veterans, New England. No. AFC Urgent Care. I think it's called Close.
I have it.
Oh, you have it.
But it's not.
It's not playing. All right, okay. AFC Urgent Care, Pleasant Valley Landscaping Contractors, Prime Insurance, the Duggan Material Law Office. Chris's Barbershop, Enterprise Bank, W3O, and 4-Star Lighting, and a free shout out to JG's Ice Cream, because no matter how cold it is,
It's always good to have
some JG's Ice Cream. All right.
Can we also share the papers coming out a little later?
Yep, we'll be out, I think, on the 11th because of the bash. We're gonna time it a little differently this month so that I have time to work on the bash. And if you want to read the paper, you can always download it at valleypatriot.com. You can follow me on Facebook and all the rest.
Well,
you have your own podcast, the Cold Castle podcast.
Yes, so we are taking a little break right now. I'm working some things out about a studio and stuff. So
trying to find a way to be more racist as a Latina.
Oh, it's so difficult, you know. All right, everyone. Thank you.